right, everybody, welcome to today's edition of the Master Implementers interview. So today we have Mr. Bryan Ang, right? So Mr. Bryan Ang, right? So he's the founder of a hyper fame digital marketing agency, right? And his story, right, is really quite inspiring for somebody his age to do so much, right? To actually create some of the biggest impact around, right, in the marketing space in Asia, right? So firstly, right, thanks Bryan for coming on to this interview, right? Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Yeah.
Great. So to get started, right, we just share a little bit of your story and what you do, right? And just for introduction for the audience who might not have known you, because I know typically you're not the one in front, right? Usually one behind the scenes. But just a quick introduction for those who might not have heard of you yet.
Okay, so a brief introduction. So basically, I run a marketing agency called Hyperfame Digital, running it for 2 years. We do basically, for me, I focus more on the info, product, business, coaching, / consulting clients, which we help them scale through YouTube ads. And whereas we have another arm for the local business side, we actually help them do funnels, get prepaid clients, get qualified clients with funnels and Facebook and YouTube ads as well, right? I think a rough story is that people that might not know is that I started off as a physiotherapist in school. I graduated as a physiotherapist before embarking into marketing. And just very, very briefly, I wanted to impact a lot more people than how I was being as a physiotherapist. I'm not saying that it's not good, but the speed of the process, like you treat one patient at a time versus you impact like thousands, hundreds, or even millions at one go is vastly different with, I would say the leverage is much different with marketing, with media, content, with the skills I have right now, right? So that's how I actually perceive it. And after going through an internship in Ireland, I kind of like decided to take the risk to try out something new on my own. So that's where I am today after 2 years of kind of like figuring things out. I'm currently helping a lot of info clients scale to 7 figures and beyond through YouTube ads right now.
Yeah, great. So definitely now you're like making a lot of waves, right, in the marketing industry. For those who know this space, they know that you are one of the most influential ones around, right? So, but I guess the question, like when you first started, when you decided to get onto your own business, right? Could I just ask a little bit, like what was your decision-making process and what made you decide to make the jump anyway, as compared to what most or some other people do, just to maybe join another company to get the ropes and stuff. But you actually became your own entrepreneur pretty fast, right, compared to what the average person would do.
I think I vastly different from a lot of other people. So what I did was, after graduation, I kind of hobo around for maybe 3 to 6 months. I can't remember exactly. I was taking odd jobs at that point of time and figuring what to do, how to start, right? A lot of people would think at the point of time, hey, just go and start an agency. But actually very hard to go to work in an agency without any experience. I have no resume. I have nothing. I ran ads before with significant results, but dropshipping ads is not counted as a resume in the agency. They will see So a lot of these I had this kind of constraint. So I tell myself, why not I just start myself since I don't know anybody. I always thought that direct response marketers were online in the US, overseas. I never thought of Singapore until I came into the world. So that was how I thought. Then I think to myself, is there any downside or pros and cons, right? Is there any downside to this? Like at most, let's just say you do 1 year, you don't earn anything, or you just like earn a minimal amount, like doing like some delivery or whatnot. There's not going to be much impact, right? You rather take the risk right now because any point of time I can still go back to being a physiotherapist, still earn a decent income no matter what happens. So I think still young. Will I take this risk when I'm 30 years old, 35 years old and have kids? The answer will be definitely no. So I decided then to take the risk when I still had time and freedom. I would say relatively freedom. I don't have any much cost, don't have much burdens. I just do it first and see where it brings me, right? So I took that leap of faith. And that was how I actually decided, should I do this? Should I do that? Not do that, right? At my age, I would have the liberty of doing this at a younger age. I would have done it so. But after graduation, you still have, I would say, student debts and stuff like that. So that's still like the consideration that people would think.
Yeah. So from what I hear, right, I mean, definitely like what as compared to like overthinking, overanalyzing, right, I think two things that I love what you did, right? I think number one, you just told yourself, okay, the worst case scenario, right, is that it's not like I'll be like starving, right? It's just, I'll just go back to my old job, right? But at least I know I took the risk, right? At least I know I took the opportunity, right? And then secondly, it's like I love what you said, that I'd rather take the risk right now as compared to 10, 20 years later when I've like all my commitments, right? My partner, my family, right? So it's actually much better to do at a young stage where you can still move around with a lot more energy, right? As compared to a much older, a lot lot more commitment. So I definitely love it. All right, so with that, right, next question, Bryan. So I guess when you first got started, right, I mean, you're pretty young, right? I think right now, yes, maybe the society might be a bit more accepting, right? But 2-3 years back, maybe not, right? So my guess is, what were some of your biggest challenges when you first started out, right? Because I think a lot of people's fear is always about, how do I get my first customer, my second customer that makes me profitable in the first place? So you share a little bit of your experiences and how you maybe managed to overcome some of the earlier challenges that you had.
Yeah, so I'll say when I first started, I wasn't the one closing. I had partners that helped me do sales and stuff like that. So they kind of helped me pave the way on learning in sales and stuff like that. I wasn't really very great in sales, including now. I can't do cold, like go out there, talk to people. I do the more like networking, personal relationship stuff, getting people to give value first. And that has always been my, I would say, go-to way of getting clients and getting to know people. And always I've been using this online, offline, everywhere, right? So networking is kind of like online for me. It's very, very natural, even before COVID started, because I didn't know anybody in Singapore. So I had to network with online entrepreneurs overseas. And I still managed to get clients like that, right? So and that was a skill that I honed throughout. I think the biggest mistakes was that the inadequacy that you feel when you started is actually holding you back from doing a lot of things, right? So what do I mean by that is that I feel that, hey, I'm young, nobody will buy from me. And with that thinking in your head, you definitely going out to sales meeting or like to the conversation, you confirm, I would say you confirm do very, very, very badly, because you had that frame in mind when you enter as well. So at the first few frames, I actually always give like, hey, you sell, I don't want to sell. I just stop whatever I feel, right? And that actually was very, very bad in my opinion, because like sales is supposed to be a natural process of getting people to trust you, know, like trust you, and actually give them permission to actually for you to help them. And after I realized that if I keep doing that, I will, even when I, let's just say, good bad company, right? And you scale, when you don't scale, you cannot always rely on just you can be an expert in one thing, but you should also be especially as an entrepreneur, or you're a founder of any company, you should have diverse sets of skills, right? What I call range as well, if you read the book, right? So in a book range, I forget by who already, exactly by who, but the first few parts actually got to me. So it's like most athletes, you would think that they practice one thing and one thing only, right? But the best athletes in the world that are like very, very famous, like in tennis and Tiger Woods and all those kind of people, right? They actually practice diverse number of sports, but they stick to one in the end, right? They go deep in one, but they know how to play a lot. And what does that tell you? It's just tell you that you need to have like a variety of skills, but you go deep in just one area, right? And that was the kicker for me, and I actually believe strongly in that. So if you were, let's say, if we restart everything, I will still do what I do. I'll read more. I'll actually get to know more people and actually learn one. Like right now, my skills are basically like in the domain of marketing and specialize maybe in YouTube ads, right? So at the start, I'll actually specialize even faster. Anything, right? Just specialize in one first and then try that thing out as fast as possible. So the key is really about, for me, is my mindset is very, very important. As much as people, cliche it might sound, the frame you enter into anything is the most important, because whether you believe in yourself or you don't, will determine the outcome in the long run, right? Because like in investing, time in the market is better than timing the market, right? So basically, the longer you are in something, the better you become in, no matter what happens. And second thing is really about skill. So skill set. For me, when I started, I had no mentor. I need to figure things out on my own. So what I did to learn is not only go into networks, mastermind, pay for coaches, right? So networking is one of the core skills I would say that benefit me the most. Meaning I would have started networking even earlier with like people around me, so that I don't get like 6 months, 1 year into the industry and I get to know people like you and other people, right? I'll immediately go and talk to you, hey, can we like have coffee and talk more about certain things and discuss more and become friends. So that's what I will do, to learn more from you, from other people about different, I would say, domains, so that I can learn faster as well, and from other people's mistakes, rather than trying things on my own, failing. So this is what I would say the biggest mistakes that budding entrepreneurs or people like me have faced when I started.
Yeah, great. I think thanks for sharing. I think number one, I think like you said, mindset, right? Because it seemed that when you first started, there was a little bit of a limiting belief there, right? Or when especially when it comes to sales, right? Until when you got reading, got speaking, you're like, okay, crap, I got to go start overcoming this. I got to start moving towards this. I think second, like I said, skills, right? And one of the best ways to accelerate is, of course, to meet with people, to have mentors, right? And of course, not just in terms of how can I take from people, but how can I give value? So it becomes a much more a win-win situation at first. So I definitely love that. So very quick question, right? So how did you initially overcome that fear or that limiting belief of like I'm not good at sales? Was it just about you just going out there and just going sales after sales with a new kind of mindset, or did you like do a bit more preparation? Like you share a little bit about your process where you first, okay, I need to overcome this. So what do I do next?
I have a very negative, I would say, motivation base. I think I know myself very well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what happens is that when I see my partners, like last time in the first agency, cannot close, I'll think like, is there something that is wrong, right? I will go and like figure it out, like they're not doing this, they're not doing this. Then there was like, a lot of salespeople think that, hey, I don't know experience, right? I shouldn't be telling them what to do. And I do agree, because I really don't have the experience. So then I will take it upon myself that say, then I need to go get experience. I just go and do, just try. Then I'll go and try prospect, I won't really cold call, but I'll do it in my own way and actually talk in my own way to convince the person to buy, right? Or persuade, or actually get the person to trust me enough to buy. And that's when I realized that I have in it, like after a while, I realized I have a skill in terms of like giving value, saying things without holding back. And a lot of people say like you need to keep things in sales. I do a more consulting base from framework. So it's like using my strengths rather than improving on it rather than actually pushing my weakness up and become even, right? And I always had that mindset in life. So basically, in terms of like I also do like dance. When I started dancing, I think a story that I actually always use is that for the first 3 years, I wasn't good in anything, right? I always try to be better in the things that I weak in, right? But I never get through any competition. But once I shift to just improve my strengths, I just give up, like, hey, too tiring to keep doing the stupid thing over and over again, right? Then I say, hey, just do what I'm good at and improve 10 times on it, right? I started to enter competition, I started to get into competition, get past auditions. And that's when I realized that don't need to be like everybody else. Just use your strengths and actually leverage on that much faster. And you realize that once you keep leveraging on your strength, the other weaknesses will slowly improve on itself as well. It's like a natural thing, right? If you pull one thing very, very high, the rest will follow a bit together with you. Yeah, so that's how I actually overcome. I would say doing it, like what our coaches say, is just like just get it done. Like go out, put yourself out there, put yourself in a situation that you need to practice, and you have no choice but to do it, right? Because if you don't, the downside is that you will procrastinate, you will complain, but nothing will ever change, right? There's nothing changed in your life. Yeah, so that's how I really think of things.
Yeah, I love it. I think one thing we say is that, okay, right, for you the motivation was like, how come you guys can do it? So let me just go forth to just do what you're doing right now and just improve the process. And then secondly, like I think like I said, leveraging on your strengths instead of just pushing your weaknesses. So yes, right, I think you also said earlier that about the range of skills, but ultimately, like you said, you got to specialize in something that you could be good at, that you're strong at, instead of trying to bring up things that you might not be as naturally as competent in, right? So I think I love that portion. And I regards dance, yes, I was crappy I did dance for like 2 years. It was crappy, right? So that's why I didn't do much of it. But anyway, that's just a quick side point. All right. So the next question I'm gonna have for you, right, Bryan? So right now, right, I'm sure that through the past couple of years, right, you have spoke to a lot of different potential clients, right? You have probably met a network with a lot of different marketers, some new, some aspiring, some experienced, right? And at the same time, I have some even like I know you have taught classes before, right, in terms of YouTube marketing and areas like that. So I guess in just your opinion, right, what do you think are some of the characteristics, right, based on your observations of the people, the individuals who might be progressing way faster, way better, right, way faster than in terms of being in the marketing space or the entrepreneurial space, as compared to those that might still be a little bit average or stuck, right, and not at the area of where they're like, just based on your own personal observations and experiences over the past couple of years?
I noticed this in everything. I think in every domain of discipline as well, is that people who just do it, like it's cliche, like if you follow Nike's like slogan, right? But just do it just means that either you're fearless or you don't overthink things. right? Just like, for example, if you have an idea about something, I would just say just execute it first and see how it goes. That's obviously depending on your focus lah. So there's two sides of the coin. One is that if you know exactly, it's the context of that, if you know exactly what you want, you exactly know what your focus is in business, in life, in this thing, and you know the direction roughly at the angle, you know that just testing things, executing your ideas from mentors, ideas from books, ideas from videos that you have read and learning, just execute first, right? If you know you think it might bring you closer to your end result. Yeah, people will actually do that very, very fast, without actually overthinking, without actually like, hey, what if this fails? Hey, what if people don't accept this? Hey, what if my masterclass flung, my webinar don't close, my leads damn high, cost per lead, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
It's normal human behavior to do that, but to people who can like take themselves away, look at things logically, and just do it, then after that, once they do it, it's like an experiment, right? Once you do, you come back to the numbers, you look at it, what can you improve on, what needs to be improved on to earn money, what needs to be improved on to reach the angle, and then you redo and redo and redo. So when I started, that's when I was very, very hungry. I had like nothing to lose. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Right now it's like a bit different because like you have employees, you have different unit. There's a lot more considerations, right? But last time when I started is when I do a webinar with people, what is the problem? I go solve the problem. Next webinar do. What's the problem? Go solve the problem. Next webinar do. What's the problem? Then it's the point that I realize I have no experience in seminars when I started, or webinars, to be honest. I wasn't in the seminar space until I started running ads for the seminar space, right? In Singapore. So what I think me and my partners did was to call like at least 10 to 20 people that attended the seminar and ask them why they never buy. And that was like a rolling effect. So when I call, I understood why they never buy. I tweaked the webinar, even though I have no experience tweaking the webinar. And then I tweaked the follow-up, tweaked everything. And then next one we do again. We do better by a bit, by a bit, by a bit, right? Slowly then you gain experience to really, really succeed. And that's what I see in like, I think top tier people as well. Be it students, be it like clients, people who actually don't take things, I would say too hard, like too emotionally, very personally. People will see it objectively, people will see it logically, and then realign together and work together to actually get it better. And that's like one of the best people in business as well. And you can see this from the top tier entrepreneurs as well. They think things very, very logically. They don't see like, they don't base on emotion. They base on like logics, facts, and like, how do I move forward? How do I solve this problem? Right. So that's how I feel that people can succeed much faster as well.
Yeah, from what I hear, it's really about these two words, which I call emotional detachment, right? So that means taking out your emotions out of the results, right? Yes, right, like you say, humans can be emotional and stuff, but I think it's also space in the marketing, right? It's always looking at the statistics, the numbers, right? Areas of improvement, right? And just treating them more, not so personally, right? But more as feedback, right? For you to continually improve in the space, right? So that's why I hear that's a very strong trait for a lot of people who are constantly moving up over and over again. Because even when some people are a bit more successful, right? And if they start taking failures a bit more personally, or it starts affecting their own self-image, right? That's when they can start going down. But that's when they don't take feedback as much and they cannot improve as fast or as often as you like. So I think that's a very good point that I think we're going to hone in now for a lot of people who want to improve out there, man. All right. So the next quick question, right? So right now, right, any actionable tips, right, in today's space right now, right? It's 2021, right? It's post-COVID, right? Any actionable tips for new or struggling, right, marketers or entrepreneurs, right, who really wish to succeed in this space? What will you have? What would you like recommend them to do, right, in the first couple of big moves, right, before they move on to become an entrepreneur or let's say a digital marketer around here, right now in this period?
Honestly, is purely just try things first, right? There's no one hit wonder as much as you want. There's no one night success story, blah blah blah, whatever. Everybody works like or fail to a certain extent first before being successful because of the lessons they learn and the experience they gotten. So any actionable tips is just do it, see it to the end. I would say see things to the end. Do certain things. We are all human, so we all feel things. We all feel emotion, and we feel like days are like against us. But the person who stays in the game the longest actually wins the game, right? So for new people that really, really want to do this, I would say be it marketer or entrepreneur, try to keep going at what you do, but always know when to also change and pivot as well. And a lot of people say like, hey, stick at one thing all the way, right? But for me, it's like, see logically whether is there a market for it first, right? Be if you're a marketer or entrepreneur. If like a marketer, then you get a client that say, I do this certain niche thing for this certain niche in Singapore that only has like 10 people. No matter how you market, it's not gonna work, right? So you must know when to actually exit as well. Same for entrepreneur. It's like an idea, you might think it's a great idea, but testing it out, it might suck very bad. So either you tweak it to until you cannot, or you know that you do research enough to see that, hey, the total accessible market is so small, it's not viable in the long run as well. So maybe you can do it as a hobby or whatnot, right? So just try testing until you hit one that works, and then you scale that one up to whatever lifestyle you want. Be it you want to hit 8-9 figures like some people, or even like a tech company $1 billion, right? Do that. If you just want a lifestyle business like 6-7 figures, I think you can just take your time, make sure that what you want is achieved, right? Where are you at, what you want to be? It's something that actually a lot of people, like new people, don't see. They get actually attracted by the shiny dream that being an entrepreneur is so glamorous, so what, right? Like a lot of people say this. But then once you be inside, you're like, hey, shit, right? It's tough. Then you don't want to do it, right? So you know what you're in for, you know where you want to be, and what impact, or what's your why, and that's like more important. And then keep remembering yourself that. Never forget that. Be it when you earn money, you don't earn money, keep remembering it, right? Never earn money, you will remember your why. But then the I would say the tough part comes when you earn a lot of money. And that's when you're challenged by your why, right? Is it really what you want? And that's where you keep rethinking about it. And and that's a lot of things until you hit one thing and then scale to your goal, right? The lifestyle that you want.
Based on what? I think what I hear, of course, initially is what I call market validation, right? Making sure that what you are trying to offer, right, is something that people want. And if it doesn't, right, you got to shift it, move it, do something else, right, to make sure that you're doing something people want. Because most people, when they first start out, right, they are doing something that they think that people want, right? But it can be true, cannot be true. So that's why we should back to what you said earlier about testing and validating the idea. I think number two, what you said is interesting because I've been an entrepreneur, I think, as of this now interview for about 4 to 5 months. I realized, so you start questioning like your why, right? Like what exactly do you want, right? Because of like let's say you grow very well in business, right? But because of that, some other areas of your life might be affected, right? Like your relationships, right? Your time with friends, right? Or your own free time, right? And being an entrepreneur is not as glamorous as what people would seem. It's actually a lot of like grunt work, right? And stuff that people don't really see. So I think one thing is like just constantly remind yourself of the why and be very clear about it, and always go back to reviewing it based on the actions that you are doing, right? So I think thanks so much for that piece of advice for a lot, not just the audience but myself as well. All right, so next question, right? So right now it's 2021. We are about March right now, mid-March at the moment of this interview. So what are this is more of like your based on your industry knowledge and your expertise, right? So what do you think are some of the thoughts of the digital marketing space right now, right? And what are some of the upcoming trends you see at the moment, right, that might actually change it, right? Do you see a huge change from 2019 to early 2020, right? Or what are some of the upcoming trends or changes do you see right now that's going to happen in this entire space of YouTube ads, the digital space, social media, and areas like that?
I think YouTube is a good platform, but obviously because I'm marketing it, right? But I think in overall, a hybrid approach is one of the best, I would say, trends that, not trends, but I would say inevitable trend, right? Because like if you see, right, I mean Singapore a bit slower, to be honest. Everywhere else a bit moving much faster in terms of like the digitization. So if you realize all this while, like for the past 5 to 10 years of marketing, we have been running direct response / lead gen / sales ads directly to get consumer, right? But then more and more people are getting access to opening business, to be it products, easy to create products. The barrier of entry and the moat is getting smaller, right? So it means like right now, if I want to compete with what company, like activewear, right? Lululemon. I just need to get an influencer, partner with them, market the hell out of it. I might be able to get a piece of the pie. Might, not 100%. But then if it's so easy to enter, right, then how does the big brands or like certain good brands create a moat around the business, which is the key, right? So right now the trends is like for businesses starting out, find a unique positioning, enter the market, right? So find something different, enter the market first, and then scale to a certain point where you get cash flow, enough money to kind of hire and do other things, right? Then the next step for me is like once you prove the thought concept, and you have money to do, is more on content, more on marketplace, like top of mind. It's not only YouTube, but everywhere. Best way to do it, I think one of them is YouTube, GDN, retargeting on Facebook, running Facebook ads, giving flyers, being magazine, being on billboard, everywhere, right? You walk everywhere, you see the guy's face. And that's when you know that the personal brand or like even the brand itself has reached a height of like a top of mind. I'm not saying everybody should need to do this, or you need to do it depending on your goals, like I said, right? So if you're a coach, consultant, basically you can run direct response ads to get leads and you can convert them on webinar 10%. You can basically create a 7-figure business in 1 year, right? It's not that difficult. But if you want to do more, but if you want to create a moat, you want to create like a legacy, you want to create like a very big, huge business, you need content. Even in smaller players to actually, like if you're selling, like for me, if I'm selling, okay, let's just say I sell a YouTube ad course, right?
Yeah.
I think 2 years down the road or 1 year down the road, everybody will have YouTube ad course.
Yeah.
Selling,
Yeah.
right? It's very easy to do that, to sell. It's because it's just technicalities. And how do I create the differentiation? How do I create know, like, and trust with the market? And that's the key. So one thing is really about positioning, trends positioning, be it not only trends, like everlasting positioning. So it's like going in there, doing something different, creating your own market out of it. Second thing is really about creating content to know, like, and trust you. So content has been something that actually I don't believe in at the start, but it has been like an overarching concept that I have been using to get clients, to get to nurture people as well. So what I mean by that is that the reason why I didn't believe in the start is because I never believed that, hey, you do YouTube videos, you will get clients. Because I see how many people do, right? How many people do Facebook videos, how many do YouTube videos for 1 year, and they are still nobody. It's damn shit, right? Very shit. Like, I don't want to be that at that position. I just run ads. Like, it's okay. I run ads and we go in sales, it's fine. So if you're starting out and you need a cash, do the direct approach, get the top 5% first, right? But if you already have a brand already right now, you don't know how to move forward, create a differentiation, create a mode, be the go-to person for something. And that's through content. So content, I define it as a few things. So when people do content on YouTube, a lot of people go to this type of things, or YouTube, Facebook, copy, blog, everything. You do like knowledge base, means they just say like, okay, how to do YouTube ads, click here, this is what you should do, what is YouTube ads about, why you should do YouTube ads, click here, click here, click here, click here. That's how you do it, right? Those are great content, but those will not get you clients. Those will not be positioning you well enough, because you'll be competing with everybody else that can do it very, very fast. So what you want to do is create insights in people. And this is what coaches actually, very good coaches actually do consistently, time after time, with their content. I realized after breaking down a lot of things. So be it ads, be it your content, you want to give people gaps, knowledge gaps, and insights. I cannot really explain it very, very well because it's very, very hard. But what I say is like show, don't tell. This concept called show, don't tell, right? So in primary school or like in kindergarten, you have things that you show something and you don't say it out like, hey, people can guess what is it, or have the idea of what is it. So it's exactly the same when you teach, when you coach, when you teach the knowledge in the content as well. For example, when I say like YouTube ads is great for webinars, right? I would, like I say, why is it great? Then I say 1, 2, and 3, right? 1, 2, 1 can be like, there's top of mind awareness. I don't tell them like 1 because I can get 6 figures, 2 because like this is how you do it. Target creative targeting, target this channel. Then after that you see like, okay, I also can know, I Google can find out. Yeah. So how do you create content that stands out, right? If I say the reason why YouTube ads is so good is because it creates top of mind awareness. And how does it create top of mind awareness? Look at McDonald's, look at 7-Eleven, look at all these places, right? What do you think when you want to buy, like say you want to buy a cigarette now, you want to buy a drink, where do you go to? Cheers or 7-Eleven? Why? Because they're always in your head, everywhere around you. And that's how YouTube can create for your brand itself. If you want to actually be 7-figure, 8-figure, you want to scale beyond and actually increase your organic sales as a side effect, this is what you can do. And you see that your conversion actually increases slowly. You get more traction on every other platform because you're always in front of people, right? I'm not saying that this is the only platform to do it, but rather it is one of the platforms that is good in doing that because it is in video format, it is interrupt basis and intent basis. So this is how I create the insight, right? Then you think, oh, top of mind awareness. How do I do that in my video? How do I do that more with my brand? How do I do that more with everything in my business, right? Then you think. So it makes you think. It makes you have your own insights without me saying anything. If you realize, I haven't ever say like, oh, how you get top of mind, but I just say these brands are doing it and you should do it too, but I never tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But it makes you think and hey, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I go YouTube ads. Maybe it starts doing this to your mind. That's how you should create content. How you should create content that makes people want to buy from you, want to learn from you more, and actually makes you an expert as well, right? Immediately without any case study, this one will make you an expert, right? This is something I learned from my friend in copy, that if you position yourself this way with content, basically everybody will think, even you have no results, that you are expert and you know exactly what you're doing and you can to go to you for this help. I'm not saying, so don't, but if you are not expert, please do not do this. Fulfillment is still a problem. So like a lot of people, fulfillment is a problem, right? But rather, if you want, really go out there and test things out, right? And experiments are actually key rather than modeling. So last time, I think Russell Brunson, last year, I think we met in Funnel Hacking Live, right? So I always had that thinking in always model first, then see how, right? Model first, then innovate. But right now it's less of that because foundationally you cannot model, right? Foundations cannot be modeled. Means foundation is foundation. Means like what's your offer, what's your messaging, what is your how you market. You cannot model people because once you model, right, immediately like you are second, right? Or it's very hard for you to stand out past that. Means if they earn 100K, you cannot earn past 100K, right? That's the max you can go. You fight with them lah. But so for me, it's like understand the foundations of marketing to a very high degree of level. And how to do my foundation of marketing is go to like the people who actually started like direct response, go to people who passed on already, right? See what they do in the past. Whatever they do is exactly same as what we do now. It's just in a different medium, different speed, different experiments, right? And then secondly is experiments with different ideas rather than things in your industry only. So example is that recently, I think last year, challenges started popping up, 7-day challenges for no reason. And then people start taking them, everybody following challenges, right? But does that mean that you should model and do a challenge, right? Not necessary. So do what works for you, but actually work on it and actually think of actually how you want to innovate to get your end goal, right? So a lot of people just follow blindly and then don't know what the end goal is. Like for example, if I were to build an agency, do you think that I tried this before? So I tried courses, tried classes and stuff like that. It's not very a good fit with the agency and you shouldn't follow people unless you really know what you're doing, right? So that's, but like need to understand how do you innovate in what you do rather than innovate more touch points like
following.
Okay, so example is like you have one funnel that works. Don't create more funnels and more problems for yourself. Rather innovate in that one funnel alone. I think what our mentor teaches us as well is like, for example, webinar show up rate. How do you innovate to get people to show up? How do you innovate to get people to buy more? How do you innovate your follow-up process? How do you innovate people to buy upsells as well, right? All these are good points to actually work on. Until the point you push to the point you cannot hit it, right? Then you, try do something new at the front or the back. And that's when you actually should do it.
From what I hear, and there was very good points, right? Might be a little bit more intermediate or advanced, right, for some, but I'm just trying to simplify a little bit, right, for some people who might still be a bit new in this space. I think it's a really big response to the massive information overload that's coming on, right? A lot of information overload, a lot of people giving causes, a lot of things that's going on. And so I think two big points that you share. I think number one is instead of just providing pure content or pure information, right, you got to give unique insights or perspectives, right, that can actually get them to start thinking on their own as well, right? So I know you mentioned about how you can actually make them think even without having like your own success stories. That's powerful, right? But at the same time, number two, I think is because everybody right now, right, I think in the marketing space, ClickFunnels, everybody knows, right, we all talk about about modeling, right? But if you're just going to purely model without understanding the foundation or the fundamentals, it can be pretty dangerous, right? Because everybody's doing the same thing and just going to be like everybody else. But if you really want to be somewhere who has mastery, right, in this space, right, instead of just purely modeling, right, try to understand the foundations and the fundamentals as well, right? And then to start innovating based on those foundations instead of trying to copy or to model after other people who might not be the best relevant for you. So I think thanks so much for those insights. I think those are really, really useful for people to get to know. Yeah. So I guess next question. I think this is something you probably have talked to a lot of people about it, right? I think you probably have tired of this, but I think I just got to ask this, right? So YouTube versus Facebook, right? Whether is it organic or whether is it ads, right? What are your quick thoughts about the differences, right? So I think you have a whole video about it. People can check you out if they are interested. But we want to share some quick thoughts about the difference right now between YouTube and Facebook in 2021 at the moment.
Honestly, just use what? I think the politically correct answer is okay, YouTube is upcoming, but the real answer, that's what I would say, right? But to be honest, it is up and coming, and it is like a trend. So basically, like it's slightly, I would say cheaper, but like slightly less competition, right, on YouTube. And that's just because there's a moat around YouTube. You need to do video. That's my thoughts, right? So if everybody started to, I can do video very, very fast, okay, then obviously the mode is gone in the near future. So it'll be sometime soon, but rather this is just like I would say golden window opportunity in Singapore, Asia especially. In the US, it's a bit more common, but there are still very little people doing YouTube because it's hard. It's not hard, it's hard to execute because you need to do more steps than Facebook. You just take a picture, throw up some copy, and you can just test it immediately. Like I think 5 minutes you can get it done. But YouTube, you need like take video, you need to edit, then you still need to put in your channel and like, okay, how do I target the right people and stuff like that, right? It's a bit more foreign to a lot of people. But honestly, just use a platform that works for you and use a platform that your clients, your customers are on. There's no one size fit all. If you're starting out, I would say test out with Facebook first because YouTube might be a bit more difficult. Like I say just now, you need to do videos, you don't know how to do it, then basically you waste all your effort, a lot of time wasted. Facebook can faster. Secondly is like first, right, YouTube is like more of like interrupt based and intent based together, and it has a search engine as well. So it's like a kind of like a mix between, for me, how I say it's like a Google Ads keywords, right, PPC or SEM with Facebook together, and it layers in front of videos that you will watch, especially in a state of mind. So I think really your marketing is like, how does your currently I think a bit more advanced is like in the sense that how does your prospect thinks when they want to buy certain thing or solve certain problems before and after, right? So if you can catch them before, basically you own them. Like basically you get into your world, then you convert very easily. And after, like what problems do they have and stuff like that, right? So we talk more about it before. For example, is that you are a master implementer. You getting people to implement more. People might, a very easy way is that immediately JV with people. You don't even need ads, right? But it's the thought process. So how do you help people at their worst, at their biggest pain point? Is maybe you go to all the course people in Singapore. You say I help them implement, and maybe you can get 10 to 30% more students actually getting success story. Is that something you want? And just get them to refer you guys. Right, very simple. Don't need to do any ads on like that. Enough for your whole year already, right? So don't need to do any ads. But that's also marketing, right? So it's really how do you think where your customer is at, and then how do you lead them at traffic to your business itself, right? Be it YouTube or Facebook is the same thing. The reason why I like YouTube slightly more, is not only because of like it's less strict, but rather you can target people where they are at thinking rather than Facebook. Facebook is more like data, third party data, and like everywhere. So you can't really target specifically what they're thinking about. But on Google, it is more search intent. So basically I can search like, if I want to learn how to speed read, I buy Kindle for a reason, right? Or I buy like certain books about speed reading. I watch Jim Quick, I watch Mind Valley and stuff like that. And I'll target that specifically on certain videos, like why this speed reading is not good, why you follow my speed reading, blah, blah, blah. Then immediately it makes sense, right? Then I can get them where they are at. Or if people who don't know about speed reading, one step before, this is more advanced, one step before. So why do I want to speed read? Why do I want to speed read? It's because maybe I want to read faster, I learn faster, I'm an entrepreneur. So how do I target now? I target entrepreneurs, and then talk about knowledge and how to actually learn faster so that you can succeed better. I never thought about speed reading. Then I say speed reading is the vehicle. Immediately it becomes, I targeting before they actually be aware of the problem they have. So I make them be aware of the problem, bring them to my world, and then they will buy my stuff, right? So it's really how they think at each stage of the process, and what do they do, what they want to do, and who's exactly your target audience. So you need to take some time to really sit down, think, and talk to your clients, see where they're at, how to get them at the easiest point to get them. Because every time when, for example, if I have to target people who are learning speed reading, right, only 5% will buy from me. And that 5% you're competing with your competitors.
A lot of,
So how do you make it easier for yourself? You target people before they want to know about speed reading. But so how I constitute, right? A 6 and 7 figure business when you start, that's the starting stages, right? I would say infancy stage is you target those people who want to buy directly, the 5%. They are aware of the problems, they want a solution. Then when you reach there, you target the front. That's how you scale. And then you can scale like almost infinitely, because as long as your fund is actually converting that into your community and you have a nurturing process, you can scale like to 8, 9, past that, depending on where you want to be.
Okay, can. Yeah, so okay, guys, for those who are a bit new, right? You're like wondering what this what Bryan is talking about is actually very powerful, right? So you can hear right from the way he's saying like yes, like front and stuff, right? But so I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to simplify a little bit, right, for those who might be a bit new to the space, which is basically right. Okay, firstly, when you get your customers, right, the people who sign up for you in the first place, right, and stuff, right. Start asking them, right, where did that desire come from to buy your thing, to buy your program, your product, your service, whatever that comes from, right? And then, right, start focusing on that desire before they even wanted to look for it in the first place. And when you do that, right, actually crafting out a whole new space where other people might not be entering as well, right? And that is actually a very powerful way to get an audience where you might not have gotten otherwise if you just focus on the pure product or service that you're trying to target, right? So I think that is a very powerful thing that people, whether you're starting out or you're a bit more advanced, right, can really use, right? Because I think that's a very that's a way that I don't think a lot of people are doing right now in today's space. Yeah. So with that, right, thanks so much, Bryan, for this. I think a lot of good things for people starting out, a little bit more intimate advanced tips as well, right? But I guess my last question, right, I guess it'll be familiar to you as well because you are in the ClickFunnels space as well, right? But right, so Bryan, what would you have to do, right, personally right now, right, if you had to start completely from scratch, right? Whether is it you lost all your networks, like I said, you have a lot of networks in the space, right? You lost all your income, right? You only have a Wi-Fi, right? And some bit of income to just sustain your daily needs, right? What will you do in the first 30 days, right? To not only bounce back to where you are today, right? But even beyond that, right? So I guess what would be some of your most actionable tips that you do in the first 30 days, right? To get back into this space all over again?
Identify the business model I want to do. Because at the start, the reason why you keep doing random things is because you don't know what business you are in. Like that's like very, very simple. So example, if I know that I want to have partnership roles with big partners, that the only thing I find and focus on is what prospect of big partners. How do I get to know them? How do I talk to them? How do I add value and get them to partner me? So this is in the first 30 days, if that's my goal, very easy for me to actually craft out content, case studies, showing my expertise and how they can do it better, or even deep diving, paying them, or if I have money. If I don't have, it's like giving networking enough to the point that I can say, hey, this is something that you can do in your business now that can increase 10%, right? So I will give them that first, small wins, and then get to work with them like in a partnership level. So that's how I will actually redo everything in the first 30 days, much faster than right now. Yeah.
Yeah, really, I think it's like just getting the door open first, right? And then with the small wins before you enter the new space, right? It's a very powerful method. A lot of people, they like to go for the big thing, right? But everybody's trying for the big win, the big ask from the people out there that then give you the value, right? They usually say no because they're getting so many requests, right? But it's about how can I give you value first? How can I give you the small wins first, right? Before I ask for the big thing, and then to close off with your revenue and to grow your business down the road. All right. So with that, thank you so much, Bryan, for this interview. I think it was really insightful, right? So thanks so much for sharing your story, right? And any last words for the audience out there who might be new, who are thinking of starting out, right? They're still a bit stuck or a bit challenging. Any last words for them, and then where can they find you at the same time?
Any last words? So I would say I think Simon Sinek and a few Jordan Peterson and Stoicism actually impacted me a lot in the journey. So what actually matters most is how long you stay in the game lah. I would say like life and business is an infinite game, right? It's not how you win. There is no win. So if you earn $1 million, then so what? Nothing happens. It's still you, right? So the only thing is that your cash may be a bit richer, then you have more problems sometimes also as well.
Yeah.
Right. So, but rather, what is the end goal that you want? In terms of like lifestyle, in terms of like impact that you want to drive in the community, and really your why. Remember that very, very clearly so that you don't forget it, and that you can constantly pursue what you like, grow in the areas that you really need to grow in, and become the person in the end when you reach near that goal, or like even help impact enough people and you feel satisfied, right? So fulfillment is like the key, I would say, for entrepreneurs. Once you feel, I would say, in Chinese, 走火入魔. English, I would say, wayward, like lost, right? Basically don't know what you're doing, right? That's when the most problems will come. You go into depression, even though you achieve a lot, whatever people say, right? You don't feel good, right? So don't reach that stage. Always keep a reminder to yourself. Always realign back, right? Spend some time knowing why, even if you're having a bad day. Spend some time knowing why you're doing this and how. Just get back logically and like, how do I do the next thing, right? If you need a break, take a break, right? It's not nobody can run 24/7. Even I cannot run, right? So COVID was a bad time for actually most of us because we ran, like, I just keep sprinting.
A lot of us in this
Very
space.
bad. So don't do that, but take shots, like do a marathon, continue running, take some breaks that when you can, and remember your why. Where they can find me? So basically, if you're interested in YouTube ads, you can actually go to go.hyperfamedigital.com/boss formula, BOSS formula, right? You can get my free script on how to actually create good YouTube ads, scale to 7 figures. And you can find me on social media at Bryan Ang ZW. I think most of my Instagram, Facebook, everything all belongs to there. You can see my face. It's an Asian face. Right.
Okay, sure. So anyway, thanks again so much for this interview. I think we learned a lot, right? So like I said, I'll put a link in the comments for anyone who wants to find out a little bit more of Bryan, following at him, find out his YouTube scripts, right? Which is he's doing so freaking well in this space, right? And with that, thanks so much, Bryan, and we'll see all of you, the rest of you, for the next round of the Master Mentors interview. Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone.